Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
I'm Mac.
And today we're giving our first impressions of Periodic, a game of the elements.
Woohoo!
And we got a copy of this game from Genius Games, so thank them for sending this to us. Know that going into this on our thoughts that we were sent a copy of this game. It's a game based in science, which is, I think, kind of what Genius Games is all about, trying to do scientific things and like historic things, I think, in general. So if you like those types of things, don't want to sell for them, but that's the type of games that they do. So maybe you can check them out
And they
see
do
what they
them
have.
well.
Yes. So we've got Periodic, which you can maybe guess is about the kind of elemental table, the elements.
Why would you not call it the periodic
The periodic table. Why did I call it the elemental table? This is why I need you to talk, Maggie.
I'm like, it's right there.
You do it.
I'm like,
It is right there.
Why?
Because I was reading elements on the side of the box. And I was thinking of the elements.
Yes.
You describe it then.
You were doing really great.
Yeah, I was doing really great.
Yeah.
So this one's about the periodic table and kind of using the different elements in order to kind of complete these goal cards. You're going around
And the goals
table.
are like different, the different combinations that the elements make up to a certain
kind of
thing.
what
So,
they
like,
would form if you combine them together.
So like one of the options is like
salt or-
sugar. So then it's asking you to find the elements that make sugar.
Yep. So yeah, you can learn kind of what elements make up these different things throughout the game as you're going, and pretty much what will happen is you'll put out 4 of these whatever combined element cards are, and then it'll either be 2 or 3 elements that make them up, and they'll have little markers out on the board indicating where they are. And then you'll be moving your little microscope thing across. I think it was a the microscope is going around the beaker on the board itself. The microscope is going around on some other thing that you'll be doing as well. But you'll just be moving your beaker around to those in order to kind of study, or I think that's what you kind of do, research that element in order to try to complete that card. And you're going to kind of be simultaneously fighting to complete these cards at the same time. So whoever gets all 2 or 3 elements to them first will complete the card and kind of get points and stuff. But if you contributed to it a little bit, you'll at least get some points as well.
Consolation points.
Yes. But that's kind of the main thing you're doing, is going around that board and doing that. And then another thing with where you're kind of the different areas. I don't remember.
Different types of elements.
Different types of elements.
Yeah.
Will allow you to move your microscope. There's I think 8 different cards, so the 8 different colors on the board. As you go to them or stop in them, you'll move your microscope 1 place forward, and you'll be going up this track for additional points.
Track, yeah.
So,
which is just purely point based.
Yep.
So.
So it's a pretty simple concept of what you're doing. It's kind of an action selection game as to which way you're going to move, because you've got kind of 5 different options. You can either move left or right across the elements, and that one can allow you, that's the only one that allows you to wrap around the board potentially. And the other ones kind of let you go in the 4 different, or the
specifically up,
diagonal
right,
ways.
Up, left, down, right, down, left.
Yes. So those kind of allow you to do slightly different things depending on what, because you could just go, you could use like a down right to just go down, or just go right.
Yeah.
But you just won't be able to wrap around like the normal straight left or right would do. And I think that's a simple way to, I think it makes sense as to how you're moving around. You can move 1 to 5 spaces, and you can also, so you're triggering this by spending these
energy tokens,
I'll say action points.
Yeah.
And the first one will cost you 1 energy token. Any additional ones, if you wanted to continue moving, would cost you 2. And each time you stop is when you get to place a cube. So you could potentially place multiple cubes on different scoring cards throughout your turn, in one turn, depending on how many you had. Or your other option is to take all of the energy tokens from
So you gotta be
one
careful.
single
You might
one.
be beefing up an action for someone.
Right, and you get to take that action at the end, but then you only get to take that one.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think I really enjoy the simplicity of this one. I think it makes it more approachable for what the subject is, and I think it makes it a good one to have in classrooms. I think it fits that type of thing perfectly because you're just kind of moving around, which I think some of the intro games you might play when you're younger and stuff kind of already have that kind of movement element in them. It's a little bit different, but I think it's a concept that's easy to understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, after our play of this, and I think we'd actually played this one
Yeah.
a while ago.
Yes.
And my impressions of it after playing it this time were different than the initial impressions.
Yeah.
Because I was scared to get back to this one, I will say. Because I don't know if it was... It's been quite a few years. So I don't know if we just were not understanding it at the time.
Yeah.
Or what it was, but it seemed like it went pretty long, and I don't know.
I just remember not understanding what was going on.
Yeah, it just didn't seem quite as enjoyable at the time, but this time when we played it, it was
Much
extremely
easier.
quick, snappy.
Yeah.
It probably took us like half an hour to play, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, it all made sense. We're just going around. I don't know if that's just because it was 2-player. Before we played like 4 players.
Yeah, I think we played it 4 players.
But
And I think some of the movements are a little abstract when you're hearing how they're explained in the rule book. I found the creator's rules videos or explaining how to play the game much more helpful. Because I think we got caught up. The arrow shows like a downward diagonal arrow, and it's based on like atomic mass or atomic radii. And so you were like, do I have to be looking at these numbers? But I think the simplicity that we missed last time was that with this one, you just move down and right. Like, that's it. You don't have to worry about what numbers are on there technically. I mean, because the periodic table is already set up in a way that the movement actions they give you are already accounting for that. So I think that was the main thing for me last time, was just like, I did not understand the movements because they're diagonal arrows, but you can't move diagonally. So it has to be down and right, or down and left, or up, So I think that, and then there's 4 of us. So that made the action points much different. And getting the cards much different.
yeah, I think that probably played into it. But yeah, after this play, I enjoyed it quite a bit more. I think I would probably give it like a 6.75. I liked how quick it was, and it felt different than a lot of games. I don't know that I can really compare it, like the movement across a grid board like that, to anything.
It's true.
Where you're trying to just easily get to these different areas. I don't know. I can't really think of anything. But at the same time, it's probably a little bit more simple than one that I would want to come back to like over and over and over again. But it's definitely one that I would enjoy playing with other people if they wanted to bring it out, or if we met up with our nieces and nephews and they wanted to, or they were learning about the periodic table. I think this would be a good one for them as well, because I don't think you'd have to be too old to understand it.
No, I mean, I think it's movements, and if nothing else, it's color based, kind of how they split it up, and then just learning, obviously, names and stuff like that as you go is just part of it, I think. I mean, I went through chemistry in high school, and I can't say I knew where all of those were on the table. I knew the big ones, but I wasn't quite sure where some of those were at. So the color markings were very helpful.
Yes, they were. I guess, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was a little nervous to play it again, just because I really didn't have a good time with it that first time. But I'm happy to report it did play much better, like you said. Probably would rate it in that area, that 6 area, with you. Just because I think for the target audience, this is a great game. I feel like I would have loved playing this in high school when I was actually in chemistry. Because part of my chemistry course was we had to memorize the periodic table. Like, I think different sections of it at a time, so not all of it at once. But I just think that integrating science for me is not the funnest thing ever. So I think integrating into a game like this is a really clever idea, because I think it makes it more approachable for all people, regardless if you like science or not, because it's not focusing in on your knowledge of the science. It's focusing on your ability to interact with the science. So I think that's really good, and our sister-in-law is a chemist, and I think she originally picked this one up, so she'll probably be happy to play this one again.
Yeah, it is surprising that there wasn't, and maybe there probably is, I guess I didn't go and look, but the periodic table kind of sets itself up to be a good use for a grid-based board game, I think, just because of how it's set up. So it doesn't surprise me that it would make something good. I'm actually surprised another company hasn't tried to do something with it, but I suppose, I don't know, maybe... I wonder, is it as popular as Birds and Wingspan? Are people going to see periodic table and be like, yes, I need that?
I don't think so, but I think they were very clever to notice how the periodic table would work well in a game.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe there are other games based on it. Let us know in the comments below if you know of any. But yeah, I thought it was a clever way to bring science into a game and allow you to kind of maybe learn some things if you're looking at how different items are created.
I agree.
But otherwise, we've got an unboxing video going up alongside this, so if you want to see what's inside the box, you can check that out. Otherwise, we hope to see you on our other videos, and as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.